Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode here on the Hermitcraft Amplified server. Today's episode is the one where we start work on the sheep farm, and I got a really cool concept for you, which I pray works because it seems so simple it can't go wrong. We've also got a visitor over there. Hello chap, where are you going? It looks like he's just trying to wander into where the water is actually. He wants to take a shower, doesn't he? Let's see if we can nudge him in there. Where's he gone? Oh, yeah, that's it. Have a shower. See you later. Whatever. Anyway, I've just been doing a little bit of a supply run. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom. I absolutely love this. It is so much fun to jump up like that. And the landing is absolutely perfect. You don't even take full damage. Yes, we're going to go over here to where it says pig, and we're going to build ourselves a sheep farm. As I said, though, I was doing a little bit of a supply run, so we're going to chuck a whole bunch of this stuff into here. These are some of the things we're going to be using for the farm. Now, you can see there's some technical stuff there. You know, that's for the sheep farm. You've probably got a good idea what I'm going to be doing here, but I will wait until I can show you in action before I talk about it. And we've got some blocks for aesthetics as we're going to be decorating this room as well. And I'm going to be challenging myself a little bit here. So all of those things can go in there. That's good. And the reason that we're doing this where it says pig is because there is like limited space to work with over on this side. And when we build our potion stuff on the other one, I don't know like how far down it's going to come. So I want to know what our limitations are while we work on these projects. And that means this place would be a better place to go because we can't go lower than this bit right here. So our farm is going to have to reside in this area, which is going to be possible. And it's got to be underneath that bit. It's going to take up a fair bit of space. In fact, you'll see what I mean later on. This farm could be any size. I could actually just not even go into this space, but we'll use this area anyway and not think about it too much. So this is now going to be where the sheep are. So let's change that. We need to change the one on the other side as well back over to pig. So I got a little bit of a story to tell you. We updated the server to the snapshot. I recorded an episode for you guys, and then the others logged on and I started having problems. Other people have problems. Basically, updating to the snapshot made it good for a couple of hours, but then it started to really run into some issues and become unplayable. So we had to revert back to 1.8. And when I did that, I updated the server to 1.8.9, and I noticed something earlier. So if we go up here... Oh, well, that didn't happen earlier, and I don't know why it happened right now. Let's try that again. That should not have happened. Well, that's slightly annoying. Maybe I've done something wrong on this floor with the redstone. Let's go up to the next floor, because I was going to show you that they don't take as much damage anymore when you use this thing. So let's jump up. Let's hold down shift in midair. And that one's not working either. This was working fine a moment ago. What has changed? What has changed? How odd. Okay, there is other people online, which means more of the server is loaded than this area. It could be something to do with the server not performing very well, because it seems like there's more of a delay before this piston extends. So we've used this before. You go up, and that thing extends quicker each time. So something is up there. The thing that I was going to show you, which I was literally doing a moment ago, I hadn't logged out or anything, was using this elevator. And when you like go up and you land on the floor, if you hold down shift, you used to take damage. You now don't in 1.8.9, and previously I think the server was on 1.8.3 or 4, and if you hold down space you sort of bounce on it a little bit. So I noticed that something had been tweaked there and he didn't take full damage, but now apparently this doesn't work at all, which is kind of a bit of, oh, deja vu. Wow, that is really odd, because when we updated to 1.9, this thing was the first thing I noticed that no longer worked, and it's kind of similar to what's happening right now, which is so bizarre. Anyway, the thing that I wanted to let you guys know is that the 1.9 episode that I recorded is uploaded to YouTube, but I decided not to publish it. But then I changed my mind and I thought, well, if you guys want to see it, then maybe I can give you that episode. Basically, update the server to 1.9, talked about a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do and changes in 1.9, investigated some of the combat stuff, and all in all, it was pretty fun to do. And then we had to revert back to 1.8, and I thought, I'm not sure if I want to publish that now. But if you guys want to see it, how about this? If we get 3,000 likes on this video, you guys give me a little bit of support and I'll give you something in return. I'll upload that one as like a bonus episode, and that'll go up on, let's think, Monday, and then I'll do another episode on Wednesday as well. So if you want to see that, leave a like on the video and I'll publish that then. It's just going to be basically a bonus episode from before when I started recording this one, where I recorded an entire episode in 1.9, and then we said, yep, this snapshot is awful, we can't play on it, and we had to revert back to 1.8. So yeah, if you want to see that, leave a like down below. Anyway, let's get to work on this sheep farm already, because I have been rabbling on at the beginning of this video, as I always do. And I got no shovel. And I didn't bring an ender chest. I am not learning my lessons. Good thing is, though, I've got one down here. Okay, the plan over here, I am going to challenge myself a little bit by making this look nice and pretty in a sort of natural way. So lots of logs, woods, bushes and grass. You can see we put this into play a little bit already. And I'm just putting in the logs in sort of random rotations here and then bringing it down against where we've got that area up above. And already I think this is going to force us into shaping the room more in this direction. Now this actually was going to be like a stump that was sort of going to come up and meet all of this up here, but I think we're going to move that. So somewhere over on this side we're going to have a little entrance where the sheep are going to come from, and then they're going to come out here and go back in somewhere over on this side. This one is obviously now going to be a little bit further away, as we're going to shape the room based around that bit right there. So that's actually pretty even. It will probably be a bit further back than that. But this is sort of my plan, and I don't know how it's going to come together. I don't really know how I want to do these walls. I was thinking about maybe making them out of bushes, but whatever you do, you need to put blocks behind the bushes, I think. So I wanted to also just like put a few bits down here and there on this and see if that really did much. I feel sad of my depth here. I've seen other people do builds of bushes and logs, and it looks like every block, like the placement of it, is a fine art. And really what you're probably doing is just like randomly placing them down until they look good. But even that can be a little bit tricky sometimes. So far it looks sort of okay-ish. Maybe I should have made a bigger patch of this and put some more bushes in. And just like that, we are out of logs. I guess I didn't really think about how many I had when I started doing this. So I think this is actually going to work. I kind of like it already, and I think we just need to be careful with the amount of the leaves that we put down, and also I think we need less of these exposed logs, which is going to be on these sides over here, as you can sort of place them like that. And then for this wall over here, it does feel like it's flat, and if you were to put a bush on it, like it would just pop out into the room a little bit too much. So probably the best thing to do there is to push this back and just have it come back a couple of blocks. So let's put in some logs here, like so, and random rotations as well. And yeah, that does sort of work, I guess. Maybe some lighting underneath there, as you can see the cobblestone. What did I bring with me for that? So sea lanterns are actually quite bright. And I guess the other alternative would be to put them underneath, like green stained glass, and that way you'll get some green coming through at the bottom. We'll try that. But I need to go chop down some more trees now and get some more materials for this. Didn't really think about that. And I'm confident now. I've got to say, we got a little bit of this done, and I feel like it's going in the right direction. But it just needs more of it right now. So let's go chop down those trees already. So I'm really enjoying this one. Getting a little bit carried away. I'm just working on bits and bobs and thinking I should probably record and bring you up to speed now. So just going to chuck in a couple more. Actually, I don't like it like that, do I? Let's put the block there. Oh, and you're still going to see it on that side. Well, yeah, just want to like rotate the textures a little bit. So we're going to have something a bit more jumbled over here, I guess you could say, sort of reaching into the room a little bit and coming up to here and forming the roof. Now at the moment you can see things are getting pretty dark in here, and that's because we had a little bit of light coming through from that hopper up there. There's actually some sea lanterns above it, I do believe, so lighting is going to be a thing in this room that we need to suss out. And over here on the left we've got some leaf blocks, and you can see that there's glass down there, and that's the green that I was talking about. That's kind of unnecessary now, because what I ended up doing was sort of digging it all out and putting the lanterns underneath so you can't see them, which would then mean that we could have leaves back there instead of green glass, which might actually look a fair bit better. So on this side, let's give that a little bit of a try. And then the green colour will be a little bit more consistent. And yeah, you can really like hardly tell, I guess, that it's down there, whereas this one sort of gives it away that there's light. I don't know which one I want to go with. I'll have a think about that. But then we've got to hide lighting up here in the roof, so it's going to be something similar, I guess. What we'll probably do is have like let's actually go up there and build this quickly. It shouldn't be too difficult to do. So we would have a hole in the roof, and that hole has a sea lantern directly above it. That's actually not what we want to do. So let's say we go over into this space. We fill that one back in. So over here is going to be where our light source is, but we don't want it to be kind of direct. So we're going to put it there, and then we'll have 1, 2, 3, and then we place like our wood blocks all around it. So let's get a few more going over here. Just put them in different directions each time, and that's how our light comes through now. It's kind of like not concealed on these sides, but the light is coming through there, and it's going to go down where those leaves are. If we just chuck a couple more in that area, it won't be as obvious. So that's the way that I think we're going to bring some lighting into this room. So now I think what I just need to do is kind of finish up the shape and get all of that done. Lighting, all of the leaf blocks and wood blocks so we can see what it's going to look like. And then after that, we definitely have to add a few more details in here because it's a little bit bare with just, like 3 or 4 different blocks at the moment. So here is the finished room, and we will definitely put some more details in here. At the moment, not too much is coming to mind. I keep thinking about flower pots, so maybe somewhere around the edges, or maybe over here we like chuck down an upside down stair and then put a flower pot on top of it. That might work actually, so I'll think about a few more things. But now we're going to talk about the sheep farm, and we're going to be doing this using rails. So I'm going to tell you the trick right here. Sheep can eat grass when they're in a minecart, which is really cool. And then I sort of thought about it and just realised how simple that can be to set up a sheep farm. If you have them going around in a circle, then they can replenish their wool if there's always grass underneath, right? So you can get technical with this. You could put them in a layout where you have like different heights of grass sort of growing around the track, which is actually what we're going to do a little bit in the backdrop. And then that means that the grass will regrow as quick as possible. So these sheep are just going to go around in a circle basically. We could have 16 of them, then you could sort of stand here AFK with your shears out, and they'll keep going around in a circle. So I found that kind of interesting. I think with just 16 though it might be a little bit slow, but this is more about having fun with the idea. So our tracks are sort of going to go around here. Of course, a few of them will be a few powered rails. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, I've done the lighting in here. You can see it's not completely dark, and that's because there's I think there's some lighting somewhere over on these leaves and a few here, there and everywhere, and you can barely tell where they are. I think if you come over here and jump, there you go, you can see a bit of a sea lantern. So lighting's good, but we're going to have to put more in the ground, and here's what I'm not going to do. We're not going to put a sea lantern directly down like that, which probably provides enough. What we'll probably do is have some leaf blocks in the ground, and then below them some lighting. So let's chuck that down. Doesn't look too bad at all, really, does it? And it'll probably be quite obvious that that's where the light's coming from. So that's how we're going to finish illuminating the floor and making sure that nothing spawns in here. So then the tracks are going to go into the background area, and this is where we're going to take a break from our natural theme that we've got going on here in the entrance, and we'll do something a little bit more technical. Now, how much time I want these sheep to have moving around in the back area, I'm not sure. Which also gives me another idea. If we were to blink these rails, which I think is a tricky thing to time correctly, we might be able to get the sheep to move around just a little bit slower, which means they'll have more time to eat the grass in the backdrop. I'm not 100% sure how this is going to play out. Anyway, around here we'll go for a very different theme. We'll probably bring in stone slabs and do something quite clean and clinical, and there'll obviously be grass in there, but this grass will be at different heights. So I haven't looked up the numbers yet. It's been a while since I messed around with this, but basically like a couple of grass blocks here can be grown to or spread from, I think, grass at this height up here and like a similar distance down below. So it means where the sheep go through, we want grass underneath them, grass to the sides and above as well. So there'll be all sorts of strips of grass around them, which means these areas regrow as quick as possible. Yes, I've explained quite a lot of this in one go here. So yeah, that's kind of like the idea at the moment, and they'll go around in a circle. What I want to do though is just mess around a little bit with how I'm going to move them along, because what we could do is sort of just send them around like on a timer, like they go into a little cell and then they just wait there, and then they move on to the next one and the next one, because we can have them back here for longer, and that means they're not just forever spinning around, which basically what I'm trying to say is I think they'll make several laps before they actually decide to eat whatever grass is below them, right? That's how I'm sort of picturing it playing out. So the original plan for this sheep farm was to keep things simple, and now that I played around with this idea of getting a bit technical with it, I can see that actually that was a very good idea. So I started to think about how we could make like a holding cell for the sheep, And what we would need to do is detect when the grass grows and when the grass gets eaten. Now the logistics of this quickly become quite complex, which is something you can always solve with redstone, but I'll tell you what the problem is in a moment. First of all, I want to explain what this contraption would do. So the way into the contraption for the sheep is at the back here. They would basically go over the top if this thing was in use, and somewhere, I can't remember where, I could have swore I saw someone with a setup like this, and it would move the rail forward without breaking it. Maybe that's a 1.9 thing, I'm not sure. Either way, this doesn't work, and there are ways to make it work. But the idea is that you'd have a rail here, so that the sheep could go straight over, or if you wanted them to fall into the cell so they could eat the grass down below, then it would retract. They would go over the top and drop down onto this. So we've got a block here to hold the minecart back, and then we can have a sheep on the detector rail, and the detector rail will then be able to tell this thing to close. So if a sheep falls in, then that extends, and the next sheep that comes through will go over the top. So then what you want to happen is for this thing to retract when the grass grows. So let's say that it's already grass, which I think is like another variable. I'm not sure. Anyway, the sheep would then eat the grass, and it would update this, and it would retract that. So the sheep would then go on its way, and because of this sort of change, yeah, there no longer being a sheep here, this would change, and then a sheep would be able to fall back in here, which I think is incorrect. You want that to work slightly differently, because you need the grass to regrow first, right? So then it regrows, then you'd make it so that would open. And it was when I got to this sort of stage I started to see some of the flaws, the way that things could go wrong, and I realised we've got this grass here, but we're surrounding it with redstone blocks, and what we really want to do is have all of our grass surrounded by other grass blocks so that it can regrow quicker. So I decided to scrap this idea entirely. I also messed around with this idea of perhaps having a setup like this, where if a cell is occupied, i.e. a sheep is here, then it would go straight over until it found one. Obviously this would be pointing in a different direction, it would go in, and then that rail there would change until the sheep has eaten the grass. And you just run into the same sorts of problems. You've got a couple of variables to think about, like has the sheep eaten the grass, has the grass grown back, and managing all of that with redstone means you end up with a ton of stuff around it. So I decided what we're going to do is keep things simple. We're going to send everything in a loop. Alright, so the sheep are going to go around in a loop. They're going to go in this direction, they're going to turn into this room, and this is where they're mostly going to be eating the grass, because the grass here will go quicker back than anywhere else. If they eat some grass from over here, they've got a limited range of grass around them that's going to spread to that block, whereas in here they're going to have more. And the way that we're going to do that is by having grass up here and down below as well. So grass spreads in a 3x3x5 area. So the 3x3 is simply like this. So if you're the block in the middle here, then grass can spread from either of these blocks, and it can do that from anywhere within a 5 high range. So the grass block in the middle is like this platform. What we're going to do in the room is have grass at this height down here, and up there. So that's the middle, that's the floor. The grass at the top is this stuff, and then we're going to have a little room down below. Now what I think I'm going to do is probably put this grass everywhere where there's not rails, which means this room isn't very nice to sort of look in and walk through. And also I was going to put a sort of window in here, but we're probably going to remove that as well. So then down on this corner, what we're going to do is have like the dirt directly underneath it. So the edge of this room is like this. Obviously I'll figure out where the corner of the room is. But then along this side we will have grass down here. We'll put torches on top of it as well, so it's got the right light level. And now whenever some of the grass up top is eaten, it can grow from down here as well, which means it's got a higher chance of growing basically. And with the grass up here it's the same deal. And up the top the sea lanterns provide the light for all of the grass in here, so that means whenever the sheep come through and they do eat the grass, it will regrow a little bit quicker. And then they'll come along this way and they'll go back around through here again. The reason I sort of changed the course of this is because this is actually our little... that's where you are. I've been hearing this guy for ages. Having slime spawn in the base now. We've been playing for a long time without many of these. Of course we're in a swamp biome, so it's kind of to be expected. So I didn't want to remove this because that's part of the aesthetics of the wall there, all of that gold, and so we sort of wrapped it around this corner, and then it's going to come back out here. So the next part of the plan was to build a kind of like Pez dispenser, and I've since learned that in 1.8 these don't work anymore, so we're going to pop into a little test world so I can show you what exactly it is I'm talking about here. So if I didn't mention it already, the reason that we're building something like this is because we don't want those sheep to be going around in a circle in the minecarts all the time. That'll make a little bit of noise. We want to sort of store them. And this would probably be the easiest way, but you know, the game changes over time, and I sort of forgot this didn't work anymore. When exactly it changed though, I'm not sure. But if we put a sheep in a minecart and we go and drop it on this track, then this is a cool way to store it, because when we drop another one on top of it, it's going to be on top of the minecart, and that means you can stack them up like a Pez dispenser. Thing is, it doesn't work anymore, does it? They now sort of group up on top of each other. Now this is kind of okay because they haven't actually like moved away. They're staying in the same position, so we could have 16 of these that get stored into that same spot. And I thought that one was glitched out, but actually it just spawned a black sheep, didn't it? Yeah, anyway, you can do this, and then when you choose to power the rails over here, they're all going to be bunched up together, and there isn't really a way that I know of to unbunch them. So they're going to go off into the distance. See you later. Oh, don't know what happened there. Yeah, so this is a bit of an issue because now I need to find a way to store them. This would actually be like relatively compact, you know, and very simple to operate. Once the sheep get directed onto this track, they store themselves. When you want to start it again, you power this rail right here, but that isn't going to work, so I need to figure something else. So it's been a couple of hours now, and I have not got a solution. I'm a little bit gutted and disappointed. I've been hanging out with Cube Hamster. I turned to him for some help. We're on his realms at the moment. You can see some missiles over there in the distance, and the two of us together haven't been able to solve this one either, and it's because the problem is a lot more complex than it really should be, and that's because mainly we're using minecarts. So over here we've got like a conga line design, which was made by Siberian Hat, and unfortunately this doesn't do what we need it to do. It doesn't handle the minecarts in quite the right way. But what we've sort of learned through discussing this is because we're dealing with a lot of minecarts, they're going around in a circle over here, then we want to store them one by one. The issue is always going to be with timing. It is going to be so easy for these minecarts to disrupt the timing of like a bit of redstone that you've got, or the way that your system works. It's just, it's too easy. And I know some of you are thinking, no way, I have the solution. If you can build, you know, the farm with the solution working, and tweet me some pictures of that, and it works, then that'll be absolutely fantastic. But I think you'll find whatever it is you build, you're going to run into some real issues with timing if you use minecarts, which is really unfortunate. Now we also did a little bit of a test over here, and I'm quite worried with the result. I know that sheep can eat grass in minecarts. In fact, that's not really worrying. That's absolutely fine. It was just interesting to see that with a diagonal track on here, it didn't seem to provide a block update because this piston hasn't pushed out that grass. That is a regular piston, not a sticky one. And now I'm probably going to repeat this test and do it on a flat track, not one that's sloped like this, and see if it provides a block update, because one of the main ways that you could make a contraption for this is, you know, using like a minecart like this on a slope above some grass, and if that doesn't work, then you're in trouble because you need to get a block update from it. Anyway, it looks like we're not going to be able to complete this in today's episode, so what we're going to do when we get back on the server, I am not sure. But as of right now, I'm going to set this test up again. Let's put that grass there. Let's put this block back over here. And yeah, we'll set down a sheep and we'll see what it does. Okay, there could be something wrong with my test, something that I've missed here, but it would appear that a sheep in a minecart on some rails on top of a grass block can eat the grass, turn it into dirt, without providing a block update for a piston. Now that might have some sort of useful use that I don't know about. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but it does rule out using the block update to detect when the sheep eats the grass, which is one of the big ideas for storing them, would be as an alternative to have them going around in circles, we would detect when they've actually regrown their wool. So that one's out of the window. Now let's head back to the Hermitcraft server. Okay, I've been tidying up the place, and you know what, it's looking really good. I love the clean look here. I was just thinking the oak wood is nice, but it is a little bit bland. Maybe a more exciting texture could go there, but all of this has been done going round into this room, and then the grass room, I put even more grass in it, so now it means all the grass down here is going to grow extra quick, which is really good. We can also pop down here and you'll see the entire area underneath has been covered with grass as well. That includes this side over here. So since we don't know what we're doing with the storage, we're going to go work on the shearing system, And I will just say, if I can't figure anything out, I might just try it with the 16 sheep going around in a circle forever, which I'm sure will annoy me at some point. Also, I have a load of powered rails on me. I forgot to do this, but all of these ones need to be replaced with powered rails, which we're probably going to power from underneath with a lever, you know, power the block, and then all of those rails will get powered. That's something for me to do. As for the shearing area over here, we've still got to decorate this a little bit more, but I don't think it's going to look too pretty, because it's basically going to be involving me standing on a single spot. Now, because this area is pretty good for not having mobs in it, I'm just going to stand here with my shears facing the sheep. But maybe what you'd do is build a little hut for the player to be safe in. But really, all it's going to involve is making sure we get our angle right and we shear the sheep as it approaches. If we were to stand like this, the shearing range, let's say it was 3 blocks for example, would mean we'd need a hopper back here. So if we sort of get the angle right, maybe we only need a few hoppers around this area, but it does mean that all of this lovely grass that we've got right here is going to go. So let's just tear that out, and the lamp as well. This right here is all going to be covered with hoppers, and I don't know if that's optimal for catching everything, but it's probably going to look something like that. And let's just chuck those rails back down. It's not going to look too pretty, is it? And I don't think we're going to be able to cover that up too much. We could use minecart hoppers inside of grass blocks, but I think that's going to be just, you know, too many entities. I do want to kind of keep it down now. We've built so much stuff in this world. Having a grid of minecart chests down here, or sorry, minecart hoppers, and then a whole other 16 minecarts going around, I don't know, I'm starting to worry a little bit about when the game is going to start lagging. The more you build, the more likely it's going to start lagging. And what we can do though is put green carpet on top of those hoppers, which should look good and should help it blend in a little bit. Okay, we don't need this sign here anymore, do we? Let's get rid of that. We know this is the sheep farm, and it certainly doesn't look like one. And we could put the sheep in today, but I think I'm going to give it some time. I wanted to do a live stream actually where we did a few jobs. One of them would be gathering some sheep, dyeing them, bringing them down here, and at the moment we could just run this thing with them going around in a circle like I've said. But anyway, I've added some details around in this area. You can see like a flower pot, we've got some trapdoors, mushrooms, and I put down some vines as well. And these are going to need to be managed. They've already started to grow, and what I want to do is just put some string down to kind of contain them a little bit, because they will spread quickly, and some of them like hanging down a little bit could look really cool in this room. We don't want them spreading too far. Anyway, the only other thing I can think of at this moment is maybe chucking in the occasional mushroom block, and this could actually perhaps like break up some of the wood that we've got going on everywhere if there was just like the occasional block like that. Already, as I place it down, I'm thinking, maybe not, maybe that wasn't the best of ideas. Or maybe instead of replacing the wood, we should like replace the leaf blocks, like maybe this one over here is... Actually, I think that's where some light comes through. Yeah, you can see the light level change, so I don't have any leaf blocks on me. I think we're going to knock that one on the head for now. You can let me know if you think the red blocks in here would actually look good. Although, is there a place over here? This block right... No, that has light coming to it. Okay, maybe like that one there. That's going to look awful, isn't it? No. Okay, I'm going to revert that. Never mind. If you think that actually looked really good, you can let me know, of course. But I think no. I think most of you are going to hate that. I don't particularly like it too much. So let's swap that back. So it's just going through a few of the other like materials that I brought with me. I basically went through all my chests and picked out things that I thought might work. Maybe we could squeeze like a cobblestone fence in here and there. Not really sure what I think about that. Doesn't particularly feel like it adds much. I also put in this this bone in an item frame over there. Brought an item frame with me. Didn't know what I was going to put in it, and then I thought actually that might be a really cool way to activate the farm, because the other side of that we could probably put a comparator and then have some redstone so you could walk up to it, hit that thing, and then bam, they start coming around, and you hit it again. And it stops. But yeah, you can see I've also gone and put in all the powered rails and gone down below and powered them as well, which is all good. And then this right here is just 9 hoppers all pointing into this chest. Very simple stuff, and I don't know if you can really see it, but there's actually some glass down there. There's like 2 layers of glass, and the sea lanterns are a little bit lower down just so we can not get like too much light into this room, which kind of keeps it looking moody like it is at the moment. And I really like it, and I got a feeling some of these mushrooms have started spreading. I don't remember placing down that many. But there you go. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for this episode. As I mentioned earlier in the video, 3,000 likes on this one, and then I'll give you that episode that I wasn't going to publish to YouTube. So yeah, if you're interested in watching that one, leave a like on the video. As always, thank you so much for your support, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. I will see you next time. Bye bye.